Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a clip of someone explaining why it's not okay to buy baggy clothes if you're smaller. After getting a bunch of negative comments on that video, she then went on to make a follow-up video explaining why she had to limit comments on her posts from now on. We're going to be taking a look at the original video as well as a couple of follow-up videos, so be sure to stick around until the end. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache.
So these two girls go into Old Navy looking for their fleece that is pretty popular during the winter months. And they say, oh, everybody always gets a size 3X, I think. And arguably, you can see by the size of these girls, they probably wear like a small or a medium. And I
Maybe they don't.
was actually happy to see that people were calling this out in the comments. There were a lot of people being like, why would you need a size 3X? But let me go into why this is not okay. We're going to start with the statistics first. Statistically,
I don't understand why we care what other people are buying. It's literally none of my business.
70% of US women are a size 16, 18, or over. So most of US women are plus size. But plus size people only get 20% of the
70% of women are between a 16 and 18 or above. Are you sure? Where are you getting these statistics from?
the apparel market, which means that 80% of the apparel market is geared towards 30% of the population.
That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense.
And then when people like myself push for size inclusivity and ask for brands to carry our size in store, we are often told that not everything has to be for everyone and you should just change your body and blah, 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 blah.
Is that how they say it?
But then I see videos like this where people who could get their size or literally just size up to a large to get an oversized look are specifically looking to take a 3X, which they often either don't carry in store and only carry online,
I've seen plenty of stores that carry a 3X.
or they'll carry like one or two of those in store and take it from someone who needs that size.
So when I buy something at the store, I'm taking it from somebody else who might need that thing. So when you go to the store to buy something, like let's say this mug for instance, you go to buy it and you're like, hey, wait a minute. I do have the money for this, and I do want it because it is the dopest mug that you've ever seen in your goddamn life. However, does somebody else want this? Might somebody else somewhere else need this mug more than me? That's what our buying process should be like, you propose? If that were the case, we would go to the store to buy food and then put it down because there's someone out there who could use it more than us. There's always someone out there starving more than us, especially if you live in a country where the average size is between a 16 and 18. Then somebody else could definitely use this food more.
So my question to you is this. Why are our clothes okay to exist in order for a small person to get a super oversized look, but our clothes are not okay to exist to put clothing on our bodies?
What?
And the answer is fat phobia. If you
Well, the answer is that whoever gets there first and wants to buy the garment can buy the garment. Also, if more people buy larger garments, they will make more larger garments, and also the cost of those garments will go down.
don't have a problem with that video, you should. And if you don't, you just hate fat people.
No, I think everybody should be able to buy whatever type of garment they want. If we don't like people trying to tell us how to live our lives, like telling us how to eat, how to exercise, all this type of stuff, then we shouldn't go around trying to police other people's lives. If anything, more people buying plus-size garments just increases the demand for those garments, which should increase the supply, which should actually bring the cost down and make these garments more readily available. It's really weird to see somebody else buying a shirt and think of it in terms like they're taking that away from a plus-size person. No, they're not taking anything away from anyone. Whoever gets there first and wants to buy the thing and has the money to do so can buy the thing. If a plus-size person really wanted that garment, they would get there first and buy it. Next. She's going to be responding to this comment that reads, "Nope and nope. If I want a shirt and it's not the fit I want, I'm sizing up. How am I supposed to push for plus-size clothing if I'm not plus-size? What do you want me to do? Go in there and say, hey, there isn't a 4X here." Exactly. I think that is what they want you to do. And I've been doing that everywhere I go. And it's been making everybody give me a lot of strange looks.
So I'm just gonna be honest.
Are you sure?
This is the problem. Because on one hand, you want to say, oh, I don't specifically look for oversized items. I just take the plus size items that are available because you prefer an oversized fit. Knowing how scarce plus size items are.
I don't think they're scarce, as you put it. There are a lot of plus-size people these days, as you've mentioned several times. Therefore, there are many plus-size garments available. How plus? I don't know, but I've seen 3Xs and 4Xs out the wazoo. Out the wazoo, I tell you.
And when I say, okay,
excuse my language,
well, do you help push for size inclusivity then? Because again, part of the issue is that 70% of US women are plus size and we only get 20% of the fashion market.
There are definitely plenty of plus size garments available. Are you talking about high-end fashion, like fast fashion? You're saying 80% of that is geared toward people that are not plus sized? I think that's this person's real issue. There are plenty of regular garments available, but not as much high-end fashion.
So if people who aren't even plus size are taking what's there, which is not enough for everybody, you're making the situation worse.
Buying products at the store is not making the situation worse for anyone. And if you think that, you have lived such a sheltered life, my friend.
Your response is, yeah, I'm not going to do that. This is why...
I think their response is, I'm going to buy whatever I want. And I'm not going to go around verbally demanding plus sizes in stores. I will just buy some plus sizes, and that'll help you and your whole movement. And I think they have a point, actually.
The response of, oh, well, it's an industry problem. It's not a consumer problem. It's not a consumer problem. We should be allowed to buy whatever we want, does not hold up.
The concept of we should be allowed to buy whatever we want does not hold up. You know, I've been saying people shouldn't be allowed to do what they want for years now. People thought I was psychotic. Okay, so it's not an industry problem. It is a consumer problem. You guys are buying up all the plus sizes, thereby creating more demand for plus sizes. And this is an issue. There aren't enough plus sizes, but then when people buy plus sizes, thereby increasing the demand, that's also an issue. I don't understand. If you have to go through various checks to see if you are large enough to buy a plus-size garment before you buy the plus-size garments, far fewer plus-size garments are going to be sold. You go in the store, they start taking your measurements with one of those cloth tapes immediately. They're like, you ain't plus enough, get out. Come on, man, I just want to buy a baggy sweater. I like to wear it to bed, you know, it's very comfortable. Get out! Get out! Okay, this look on your face lets me know that you're not joking, which is fairly disturbing.
Because you want to contribute to the problem, but you don't want to actively progress society to fix the problem.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I was working against us all so much. I'm sorry, man. I thought I was just sitting here making bad jokes.
You just want to make it worse for fat people because you only care about yourself.
This is news to me.
Just say you hate fat people.
No. Just say you want to police everybody else at the store and stop trying to make it about some other thing, which is weird, by the way. Why do you want to police everybody else at the store?
Like, literally, I would respect all of you more if you just admitted it. And I'm trying to respond to people, but TikTok is literally hiding my responses right now, so that's why you're getting a video.
It's ironic that you said you would respect us more if we were just honest. I don't think that your intentions are really about supply and demand or whatever. I think there's more of like an emotional component to this. You see somebody who is smaller buying a plus size garment and you're like, why are you buying that? You don't even need that. Like, it's got little to do with supply and demand around garments and more to do with some sort of emotional issue that we have. Next.
For the first time since posting on the internet for
Feels like the first time. Feels like the very first time. Yeah.
almost 10 years, I had to limit my comments, limit the reuse of my content,
You had to?
turn off downloads, all of that,
Well, luckily that didn't stop me from downloading this video.
because I said that plus size clothing is only produced as 20% of the fashion market. And if people want to buy our clothing as an oversized look, maybe they should help us fight for inclusivity. That was the polarizing statement that I made.
Okay, so you had to turn off your comments because you said something that a bunch of people disagree with. And now they came and told you, hey, I disagree with that. And you couldn't handle it, so you had to turn off your comments. I love how dramatic and self-centered that language is. Instead of saying, yeah, so I made a video and a bunch of people disagreed with me, you said, for the first time in 10 years, I had to turn off my comments. That's a very interesting way of saying, I had a bad take and a lot of people disagreed.
That was the statement that had people calling me slurs, that had not only fat phobia running rampant in my comment section, but also homophobia, solely based off of my haircut, apparently. There's a couple things that I do want to address, though.
Well, let's stay focused. You were saying something about smaller people shouldn't be allowed to buy plus-sized garments. Am I understanding that correctly?
And no, I am not turning comments on for a little bit, because that was a lot.
Okay, well, luckily I'm making a response video.
I have only had to turn comments off of maybe like 4 or 5 videos ever.
I've never turned comments off, even if people disagreed with me.
In almost 10 years. So that's how that's going. And people are also taking to other forms of social media to just tell me how mad they are that I shut off their access to commenting.
I doubt they're mad about that, and they're probably just disagreeing with that other stuff that you said. You seem to be the one that's mad, which is why you disabled comments.
1. Let's define what a marginalized community is.
Are you sure we have to do this again? All right.
Because I see a lot of people saying plus size people are not marginalized because they can choose to lose weight.
And also, they are the majority, as you said. So you can't be marginalized and the majority at the same time, can you?
It being a permanent factor is not actually a definition of what a marginalized community is.
Your definition.
A marginalized community is a group of people who are systemically discriminated against and at a disadvantage.
If we're the ones that put ourselves in this disadvantaged situation, then who's the one that can get us out of it? The correct answer is, well, I'm pointing at myself. You are the only one that can get yourself out of the situation that you put yourself in. Therefore, there's no marginalization or systemic discrimination about it, especially when the average person is plus-sized these days. You said yourself 70% of people are plus-sized. So how can you be marginalized?
It does not mean that that disadvantage or discrimination is permanent. The unhoused community is another marginalized group.
The unhoused community?
Are you telling me that that is not considered marginalized because at some point they could become housed? And so like that doesn't count because it can change?
I don't know why we need to figure out who is or is not marginalized. I think that's a very bizarre way of looking at the world. Some people are homeless for various reasons, some of which might be outside of their control, some of which are within their control. Whatever reasons are within their control, they should probably work on. The same is true of our weight. If we put ourselves in an unfavorable situation by living whatever type of lifestyle, we shouldn't then go and complain about all the negative ramifications that come from living this unhealthy lifestyle.
That's literally not part of the definition, if it's changeable. It is how society treats you and stigmatizes you, and how people think it's socially acceptable to blame you for your circumstances.
No, I don't believe that's what determines marginalization. And I also think it's funny when we try to point out and say there's an issue with people blaming you for your circumstances. What is the problem with acknowledging that somebody is where they are because of the actions that they took?
I'm also going to point you to this NIH study. Obesity stigma, important considerations for public health. Again, peer-reviewed research, since everyone thinks that they're smarter than the research that I present. Common perception.
Hold on. Stigma and discrimination toward obese persons are pervasive and pose numerous consequences for their psychological and physical health. Oh yeah? Stigma and discrimination are causing psychological and physical health problems for larger individuals. That is such an abstract concept that literally cannot be measured.
Smarter than the research that I present. Common perceptions are that weight stigma is justifiable and may motivate individuals to adopt healthier behaviors. Recent estimates suggest that the prevalence of weight discrimination has increased by 66% over the past decade.
How did we measure that?
Less access to clothing, which is a basic human need, less access to healthcare because of weight stigma.
I don't think anybody has less access to healthcare or clothing.
We make less money than our thin counterparts. There is a statistic out there on it.
That statistic does not prove that somebody's being discriminated against at all.
Less promotions. We are allowed to get fired because we're not seen as a protected class.
What? You want to be unable to be fired? So you want a world where people are forced to hire larger individuals, even though they don't work as much, according to the statistics that you have presented, and then they are unable to fire these individuals, regardless of how they perform their job. What?
It literally meets the definition of a marginalized group.
Your definition.
And the fact that you all will fight so hard against it to talk shit on our community in my comments, you're proving my point that it is socially acceptable.
No. You turning off your comments just proves that you can't have an actual debate with anybody on this topic, period. You didn't have to turn off comments for the first time in 10 years because you guys are so terrible. You turned off comments for the first time in 10 years because you didn't have a proper response to everybody's comment. People called you out and you couldn't respond appropriately, so you just turned off your comments. We see this all over the place.
And I'm going to link a video below where I talked about how fat phobia is heavily tied to the alt-right pipeline. And I could not find better examples than those comments that I received, because they were so heavily tied to homophobia as well.
Well, unfortunately, we can't see those comments because you've disabled them. We'll just have to take your word for it. You seem really honest. So I'm sure all of that really, for super really realers, happened.
It's so funny to me that you guys are literally proving the points for me and not even realizing it.
Oh yeah, man. You got us all with the Jedi mind tricks by turning off your comments because you couldn't handle the criticism. Personally, I'm a little confused how we can claim to be marginalized and then also say that we're 70% of the population, so why aren't there more clothes? None of that makes any sense to me. I like how she threw in, we can be fired, like you literally want to make it illegal to fire somebody over a certain BMI, which is hilarious because we've said many times in the past that the BMI is an inaccurate and problematic tool. So personally, I disagree with all of the aforementioned, but what do you think? Should smaller people not be able to buy plus sizes in the store? Why did this person limit comments on their posts? And can you really be marginalized if you're the majority? Leave a comment below. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.